Hi friends, welcome back to our channel. My name's Christina. This is Aspen. We also call him Spinach. Thank you so much for being here. So today we're going to be talking about why to let go of expectations and really just start living in your own reality and changing your life and your relationships. So we are going to be diving into a little bit about us and our expectations and how this can ultimately make such a huge difference in your relationships. It really started when I got married. I was reading this book for future wives. And there was this story that this woman told about how she had her husband and she asked him to do something. Let's say it's like putting your socks away, and he just always leaves his socks on the floor. She would ask him, and every time she asked him, she'd ask him a max of 3 times. She said, "Hey honey," she'd politely ask, "can you put your socks away next time?" And he said yes, but then he didn't. And then she'd ask him again. And by the 3rd time, if he didn't do it, she would just ultimately accept that that's something that she has to pray about and talk to God about and just let go. So for me, I was like, okay, I had just gotten married. I was like, I'm just gonna try this. And in a lot of ways, it instilled patience in me and just accepting there are some things that you can't change about people, which is very true. And in other ways, there are things that can change about people as we grow and mature in life, and as God works in our hearts. But, that was kind of my first taste of just letting go of expectations. As life goes on and as relationships continue to develop and change with family, friends, people, I got to a place that was really hard in a season that's difficult, and I knew that I had to let go of whatever it is that I needed for myself and that I expected from other people to provide for me. I've always been a very independent person, but I've also had this desire to be taken care of. And I think that's a woman thing. I mean, men too, I'm sure, but I think that's pretty prevalent for women, is just this desire to be loved and to be seen and to be heard and to be provided for. I had become increasingly aware of the people around me and their relationships. At the time, we were surrounded by people that had a lot of different types of relationships, their stories, their conversations, and I really was just being really present with those people. I think it's really easy for us to find things that are flaws in other people, but it's really hard to distinguish those in ourselves. And so I really just had to step back and shift in my own life and say, oh, well, I see somebody else with a flaw or whatever I think their flaw is, but how do I do that in my own life? I really had to be objective and pretty critical on myself in some ways, to be like, okay, I know that I do this, maybe not the same exact way, but how do I do this in my own life? And I know that I don't like that quality of myself necessarily. And so as I was observing these people, that maybe I was mentally criticizing, I really was thinking, okay, well, these people are upset in their relationships, but why? What is the root of what's happening? What is the root of what I'm seeing around me? What is the root of some of my friends that complain about, spouses, friendships, people in general, family members? I'm like, what is this? And I realized something really important. We're just putting expectations on people that continually disappoint us. That sounds really, really simple, but it's really deep as well. And I know that people disappoint me. And I know that my friends and my spouse and people around me, we are not perfect. It's natural behavior for humans to fall. That is our curse. We are bound to sin, we're bound to fall, and we're bound to disappoint each other, but the only one that I know that won't is God. But in my day-to-day life, I can't put such high expectations on these people. And realistically, I hadn't applied my thinking to it that way. And then I started seeing this domino effect of, oh, when we're disappointed by people, we unintentionally become resentful, become bitter, become angry towards them. And I could feel and I could sense, and I started to realize, oh, I have all of these feelings towards my friends and my spouse and all these people because I'm allowing myself to get my expectations up. That turns into discouragement because people aren't perfect, and now I resent them because of it. And that's not necessarily their fault, it's more of a me problem. Once you've been disappointed by them quite a bit, then we start to become expectant of being disappointed by them. So our good expectations turn into only bad expectations, and then things get worse in our relationships. But sometimes those things aren't true. It's only true to me because I'm hurt by it. I'm taking it personally. Whereas I'm putting these expectations on top of people that I should know can't always hold those expectations. So I continue to really think about these things and think about these relationships and think more into them. And I also realized, why do I have expectations? Oh, it's because I think I'm deserving of X, Y, Z. When in reality, I am just as sinful and have fallen as short many times as anybody else in my life. And more importantly, I don't deserve anything at all. I don't deserve a new car. I don't deserve a trip to the spa. I don't deserve a new purse. And I was seeing some of my friends, some of my people were looking for opportunities of disappointment in other people's where they felt like they had expectations that weren't met and they knew that those people were going to lose or disappoint them. And because they were expecting it, not only were they disappointed, but they were manipulating that disappointment, that discouragement, that bitterness to then turn it back on that person that disappointed them, hang it over their head. I would see my friends that were looking for opportunities to tell their spouse that because they're disappointed now, they deserve a new purse that they've been wanting as an apology. So now all of this is spiraling into opportunities to catch your spouse messing up so that you could then guilt them into buying something for you that you want, and now you feel like you have an opportunity and a reason to do so. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is getting out of control. And this stemmed from expectations. Granted, it doesn't always happen like that, but it was happening like that for a lot of people in my life, and I was seeing it so clearly now. And I became aware. I became even more aware because I started paying attention long ago. And then I started paying attention. I'm like, oh my gosh, the danger of expectation is so prominent in lives and is so prominent in relationships. And it will ruin anything that it wants because we think that we deserve something, or we are constantly putting our faith in people who are just as prone to messing up as we are. So I want to encourage you, because there's something that is so freeing about letting that go that I've realized, and it is this. Now that I have become aware of this and I've been actively changing my mindset, I find, one, not only am I so much more excited and happy and grateful towards my spouse in particular when he does something that I was never expecting him to do. I don't expect him to clean the house. I understand that he's my partner, but I don't put that pressure on him. At the end of the day, if I want the house clean, I should do it myself. But now it is so much more sweet when I come home and I'm not expecting it and the house is clean or the dishes are done or whatever it is, and I can be like, yes, my partner came through. And I'm so appreciative for that, because now it feels like it's one less thing off my plate. Instead of coming home and expecting him to clean, and now I'm nitpicking because I'm looking and I'm like, well, I would have cleaned this better, or I would have cleaned this differently, or why did it take you this long to clean? Instead of nitpicking and being unappreciative or just being like, oh, thanks for cleaning the house, now I can truly, fully appreciate that with my whole heart and my whole soul. And I can show that care and that love towards him. And really, we can encourage each other a lot more because we're not expecting anything from each other. We're just doing it out of true love and care for each other. And here's the icing on the cake. It's hard to realize. Now that I'm letting go of all those expectations every single day, I'm so much happier. It's so much freer for me, but it's so much freer for them too. I don't put that weight of expectation on someone to feel like they have to be somebody. They just are who they are, and I am who I am, and I'm appreciative, and I'm just living my life alongside those people. And now, because we're not bound by that, we get to live in an intense harmony with each other. You give people permission to live life and have free, true, honest relationships with each other when you're not binding them with expectation, discouragement, resentment, guilt, bitterness. And it really starts with that expectation. You give people permission to be 100% who they are, and now you get to be who you are too. You get to live in true peace, happiness, and harmony with people when you don't expect anything from them and you just love on them for who they are. It's so freeing, it's so real, and it's so life-changing for me and my relationships. And I'm like, okay. Like, we had some family friends over, and one person said to the other who was, they were dating, and she's like, well, I expect this, and I want this for my birthday, and if you don't get it for me, then I'm going to, be so upset and this and that. But they both knew that it was absurd what she was expecting, and it wasn't necessary, and they're just trying to figure out their seasons. So I was like, man, I wish I can guide someone like this towards, all right, stop expecting something unrealistic from your boyfriend. That's something that you both can't afford right now, and I know it's your birthday, but that's not your season of being able to afford that. And instead of expecting him to do something and telling him that's what makes him a good boyfriend, what makes him a good boyfriend is loving you wholeheartedly, to the best of his capabilities, and accepting and cherishing and creating memories with you. And sometimes that's not a gift or a monetary value that provides that. Sometimes it's just a true relationship. And by letting that go, you give that person the freedom to have an honest relationship with you. When that time comes and when your season comes, you guys get to live and have all those extra additional blessings that might be a little bit expensive, and now you can afford it. But recognizing where you're at, being realistic and honest with yourself, and letting go of those expectations truly will change everything. And more importantly, if you feel like you're constantly let down, I want to let you know, let it go. Let the expectation go, because you're probably constantly let down because you're expecting something, or you feel deserving, or you feel entitled. And that's not a diss. Trust me, I am there with you, because I have plenty of seasons, and I still will continue to be that person occasionally. And it's not a diss. It's a waking up. I want to wake you up to what's real and what's honest and what's true. You have so much love and so much potential, and your relationships can continue to dive deeper and deeper than you can even imagine. Letting go of your expectations is such a great start to something true and honest and healthy, and I really hope you find that. And I hope that this encourages you. If you're in a season of just like always constantly being let down, lay it down, let it go. Talk to God, talk to friends, talk to your dog, whatever it might be, but just know that you are so loved, and your life is worth living, you are worth pursuing, and those expectations aren't worth it, I promise. All right, well, I hope that this is helpful, and thank you so much for loving on me and letting me love on you and being a part of this community. It's such a huge blessing in my heart and my life, and I'm looking forward to creating more content for you. I will see you in the future. Take care.